you don't want to have that happen at the far end of the racetrack up around turn 4 or 7, because then you got a limp all the way back and there's no way you can stay on the lead lap.
I don't know, Darrell, the tire's up. It doesn't look like it shows a lot of deflection as it goes into the corner. Let's have a look at that left front here.
It looks fine. It's good. I think the car just got a push in it, and it's feeling like it's down. But he sure is having a hard time holding these guys off behind him.
Yep, Holmes is right there with him, and so is Greg Pickett.
And they'll start these tires somewhere around 25 PSI in the front, maybe about 19 in the rear. But in the front, because of heavy braking, brake heat, I mean, they'll build up as much as 18 to 20 pounds.
Yeah, and a biased tire will really balloon up on you if it gets a bunch of buildup in it.
Vince Little off the track and back on. Leaders out of turn 11, and Englebright's right there on Steve Petty.
Well, that's a great shot. I love that overhead, looking at these guys all fighting for position.
Whoa, what a bunch here,
yes,
coming
sir.
into this corner.
And somebody's going to get shoved into those tires again.
Now the 70 car, Greg Pursley did head for pit road, Matt.
Pursley has given up his third place spot, 35 miles per hour, the pit road speed today for the Southwest Tour cars. As he makes his way down the long, long pit road. They are going to make a 4-tire change. This is under green conditions, so they will make a 4-tire change. The left front, Darrell, does look like it's up as they go around to the right side of the car. Like we talked earlier, they're hoping, though, now since they pitted where they wanted to, they can make it to the distance. I talked to his crew chief, Bobby May. He says, we feel like if we pit at lap 20, we can go the distance on fuel. The jackman pumps that front hose jack up. They get the left sides on. Looking at that left front, don't see any cuts yet. And he's down and away, 29.5 seconds.
And the important thing is they can do this without losing a lap under green.
Yeah, the leader's just now in turn 10. He's just now exiting pit lane, so he's going up the hill to turn 1.
But to me, the question is going to be, can he run 45 laps on fuel? Most of these teams were telling me they could run about 35 to 40 laps on fuel. They have 22-gallon fuel cells, just like the Winston Cup cars, so 45 laps is going to be a long way.
I think he's probably depending on a couple of caution flags to be able to get caught back up and to be able to make it.
From third on back, what a battle. Holmes holding off Pickett and Rodman, the 2 blue cars. Then Souza, Shepard, and Reed. Look at the gap the leaders have on that third place battle. Steve Petty and Jim Englebright.
And when you're out there by yourself, you can run so much faster. As you was mentioned earlier, Darrell, it's such a hit your line, hit your mark sensitive racetrack. A lot easier to do when you're not having to race somewhere.
Oh, yeah, because you don't need a distraction. The track is your distraction. Hitting your mark, shifting your gears, braking at the right point in time. And you don't need somebody hounding you. So you start looking at them in the mirror, they start sticking that nose under you, and, buddy, you can lose a lot of time.
Let's look back at 8th place. It's the 0-4 of Mark Reed, the Winston West point leader. Steve?
Yeah, Mark Reed's going to employ the same pit strategy that Matt just described in the number 70 of Greg Pursley. This is known as short pitting. The 04 Mark Reed started this race in the 13th position. His crew is on the wall and ready to service him.
I don't know, Larry, about short pitting here. It's a lawful long way to go on that set of tires from here to the finish.
It's tough strategy. I mean, it used to drive me crazy here. If they can get to lap 24 to 29, then they can go the distance. And here we see he's coming to pit road, so this is lap 21. But you're right, that puts you out there a long time on those tires.
But something you said yesterday that made a lot of sense to me. I'd rather be out there with tires with 25 or 30 laps on them and at the front than I had to be back there at about 25th or 30th with 4 brand new ones.
Absolutely.
So track position's huge. How about it, Steve?
Mark Reed comes in, DW, the 04. They're going to change right side tires. Right behind him, the 44, Bob Lyon, also in. Mark Reed, long time on the right side. This will be a 4-tire stop. Still having trouble on the right rear, the 04, Mark Reed. Finally, they get this job done. Jackman gets underneath the left side of the car. Very long time on the right side of the car. Left front tire goes on with no problem. Again, slow on the left rear, the 04. Very long pit stop. He's finally away. 38 seconds for the 04 of Mark dark green.
Doug McCown was also in. He came by us very slow and coasted in. A former winner of this race. McCown going to the pits.
You got a car right here stuck in the pit lane, and they're going to have to throw a caution because they can't leave him sitting there.
Yeah, that's McCown. He didn't make it all the way to his pit after coming by us pretty slowly. We're going to get a full course caution, and that may work to the advantage of the cars who just stopped.
Oh, it will, definitely. This is ideal. This is what you want. Just came out of the pits, 4 fresh tires, caution comes out.
You can go from about 30th to leading the race. Under this caution.
Didn't that tell you what good strategy that was?
But, you know, we saw similar strategies. Think about last week with Bobby Labonte.
Right.
When he came in a lap before the caution came out, everybody pitted. Next time by, he's the leader.
You know, the thing I want to say, we're seeing 30 and 38-second pit stops on these guys. In their defense, they run 16 races, but only make about 7 pit stops a year. Only do they run about 7 races where a pit stop's involved.
And they have what they call, a lot of them do the wide 5. It's the old-timey where you don't have a center lug nuts all right in the center. They're all out around the edge of the rim, and that takes a long time to change.
Very hard to get the air wrench in there and get the tire indexed.
Some of the SCCA volunteer race officials that staff all the corners of this course, you see them all dressed in white, pushing McCown's car off so we can get back under green. Steve Petty and Jim Engelbright are your race leaders here at Sears Point, the NASCAR Featherlite Southwest Series. Welcome back to Sonoma, California. Some of the leaders decided to pit, but 3 of the front runners, Petty, Engelbright, and Greg Pickett, did not choose to pit under this caution flag.
Track position. The plane, boss. The plane.
Today's aerial coverage is provided by the Union 76 Skycam. 76, the official fuel of NASCAR. That's a push me, pull you, Darrell.
I was going to tell you, that airplane reminds me of my career.
A prop at both ends?
Being pushed sometime, being pulled sometime.
It's a neat looking plane. You don't see it often. There's a look at it. A propeller on each end of the fuselage and twin booms and rudders. Kind of P-38 look in there. I think they call that a Skymaster.
Looks like a mosquito.
And here's what it sees, is this great aerial view.
I love the view.
Up Sears Point, pace car is in. Steve Petty, who's led every lap of this race, brings them up very slow for the restart.
Watch, Mike. See how these guys back in here, they got to catch up, and then all of a sudden they run up on cars that haven't taken off yet. Sometime you can get a real bottleneck, get into each other right back here.
Even though you don't get very many cars a lap down on the road course, all restarts are single file. There's no double file restart.
Doug McCown lost 2 laps, but he's back in the race. That's the car that stalled to bring out the caution. And Steve Petty, who last year led twice for 17 laps before transmission troubles put him out. Trouble up at turn 2 at the top of the hill. Two cars go spinning. And now there's a bunch of them involved.
I'd be 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 cars.
Take us less time to tell you who's not in the accident.
Up at the top of that hill on restarts, it's always real touch and go, because the guys get up there first, they slow down, and here comes the rest of the guys running wide open, and it just bottlenecks and chain reacts right back down to the cars that are getting there last.
Well, 83 was one of the cars that pitted, Travis Clark. And, he's going to lose some rear end fiberglass. Now, here it is at the top of turn 2.
See, watch these guys. See, you're coming up the hill. You're coming up here with a lot of steam, but the guys up here in front of you are slowing down.
Oh, there's the one.
Oh, yeah.
That yellow car, 94.
94.
Darrell Lamore kicked it off.
Just tried to go in there too hard for the conditions.
Oh, yes. Too much traffic.
Eddie McKean among those involved. Watch the yellow car coming up the inside into the corner. There's the first contact.
You're coming up that hill and you say, oh, man, I'm going to pass a whole lot of cars. Everybody's slowing down. But you got to slow down, too, bud.
Yeah. You go in that corner, you go, I'm catching him. Well, the reason you're catching him is he's on the brakes, and you
you're
should
not.
be, too.
That's right.
Going to take a full course caution to sort this one out.
And I think we know why those leaders didn't pit now. Who wants to be back in all that?
Exactly.
So Rodman is pitting now. Craig Rodman, the owner of Victory Circle race cars, pits in front of Dick Berggren.
Interesting story on this guy, Craig Rodman. Last year, the beginning of the year in April, he hit the wall so hard at California Speedway, bent the toes back on his left foot. The surgery that followed around, and all the rest of the healing is such that his left side shoe is a 13.5. Right side shoe, size 13. But he's toughing it out here. He uses the ball of his foot instead of his toes in order to brake the car. He is a left foot braker. He has run up front all day today. Came into this event second in points. He'd already won 2 races so far this year. He's telling the crew, keep your cool, keep your cool. Stop is taking much, much longer than they would have wanted, particularly on the left rear. They just have dropped all the lug nuts on the ground from the left rear. Very, very slow pit stop, but you know what? It's not going to hurt him because there's nobody passing him on the racetrack. He'll just pick up the back of the pack, that's all. They're watching to make sure they get them all on. Yeah, they got them all on now, finally. Long pit stop.
And Dick, there's been a crash at turn 1 as Scott Brandt's car is pushed back. As cars bunched up under caution, number 19 there, Eddie McKean, involved. Number 7, Frank Moratsky Jr.'s car was already stopped. But McKean just ran up the back of someone just out of view of us at turn 1.
And what an eventful weekend Frank Moratsky's had in that 7 car. He crashed here in practice on Thursday. They took the car out of here, put a whole front subframe on it, whole front clip, spent 36 straight hours repairing it, came back here, used a provisional, and now he's had problems again.
Moratsky involved in that accident at turn 2. And we're under a full course caution once again. Will the leaders pit? Find out when we come back. Getting set for the restart after a 7-car accident up at the top of turn 2. Dick Berggren.
Want to explain why Craig Rodman legally took 4 tires on that pit stop, Mike. Remember, they're only allowed to take 2 under caution. The caution flag was out while that activity was going on. But he jumped onto pit road just before the caution flag came out. Either good luck or a terrific spotter. NASCAR has ruled that a legal 4-tire change under green. There's only 2 cars with 4 fresh tires, he and Persley.
And what designates from a form of a pit stop is the flagman at the entrance of pit road. If he's not waving that red flag that says you can't pit, then you're free to go in there. Once you've cleared him, it's still considered a green flag stop, even though the caution may be out at the flag stand.
Single file, the first 6. Look right behind them. They're double file coming up into turn 2.
And again, I can't tell you how difficult that is when you're back in the pack on these restarts. You're coming up that hill when everybody else at the top is slowing down, and that's why we see these big multi-car accidents up there.
Leaders down the hill to turn 4. A lot of elevation change here. And battle for the lead.
Got the pace car.
Engelbright inside. He's going to get the lead from Steve Petty. Pickett gets jammed up, and they're too wide behind him. First lead change of the day puts Jim Engelbright, the defending winner of this race, out in front. Matt?
Steve Petty just called in the left front flat. Left front is flat, so they told him to bring the car in. Dwayne Sharp's crew chief has the guys on the wall ready to service the car, but he just came on the radio and said left front flat.
And you could see he was really having trouble getting through the S's here with that left front down, and he's kind of fighting with it now. He's lucky to get that thing on pit road right when he did. This isn't going to hurt him that bad.
And as long, I think it could actually work to his advantage, Gerald, because we're at lap 28. He's well within the window that can get him to the end of the race. If they don't have a disaster of a pit stop, he'll be back out there before the leaders come by. So I don't think it's a disaster by no means.
No, it's just going to have to see how it plays out for him. If things work his way, could be an advantage.
So Greg Pickett is now the 2nd place car as Steve Petty, who led twice here last year, comes to pit road. Matt?
Dwayne Sharp, Steve Petty's crew chief, thought about short pitting around lap 27 right about now, but since the car had not fallen off on the stopwatch due to the tires holding up so well, they thought they'd go to around lap 35, but when he came on the radio and of course said the left front's flat, this fell right back into their earlier plans as the guys have come around to the left side of the car, jacking up, getting the tires on. And the front's done. A little trouble on the left rear. It's the last lug, drops the clutch, and he's down and away.
So Petty, the pole sitter and early leader, back in the race.
And one of the things you got to be careful of, Larry, on a restart here, you ride around a couple of slow laps, you pick up a lot of trash on the tires. You can see it all out here. You get that on the tires, you drop the green flag, you say, oh, I got a flat tire.
It feels exactly like a flat tire.
And you got to go for a lap or 2 to be real sure that it's not just buildup on the tires.
For 2nd place and 3rd, Pickett with the 6 car. Souza making a run, and the 04 of Reed there to the inside. Steve?
And the 04 of Reed may be a good good shape. Crew Chief Jerry Pitts talking to him. Jerry, tell us about your strategy of short pitting, and can you make it the rest of the way?
Yeah, we can make it to the end. We decided to come in at lap 21 there where we could we make it on fuel and try to get track position when everybody comes in under caution.
All right, and Jerry Pitts is a guy who's got Winston Cup experience. He's worked with Bill Elliott and most recently the 92 of Melling Racing.
Thanks, Steve. There's a look at his driver, 04. Mark Reed, who's back up to 5th place after making his stop.
And we could certainly see that the right front tire was down on the Steve Petty car. And also going back to the pit stop that Greg Pursley made earlier, we wasn't sure that tire didn't look flat, but it, a lot like our Hollywood Hotel, it does have a slow leak.
Oh, yes, a couple of them over there.
Let's go back to pit road and Matt.
An update on that 01, the Steve Petty car. 10 pounds of air pressure in that left front, Mike. Very similar as Larry Mack said, with the same thing on Greg Pursley's car. Just 10 pounds, slow leaker on the left front.
And see, one of the reasons why, and there's a car, Pickett down here in the corner. Oh, that's a shame. He's having a great run. He must have probably might have got a little help. I don't know.
Second place car going into that corner. Greg Pickett recovers.
But what I was going to say is a biased tire. The reason that we all like the radial tires, the road course was probably one of the places that drivers like them the most. You're always running over rocks and cutting those biased tires down. The radial's a little tougher, and here's our leader in the pit.
Matt's there.
And Jimmy Gobrett's guys come around to the left side of the car. Gil Melton, the jack man, pumps the jack, jacks up that number 20 machine. He said the car was very good, but it did have a little bit of snugness on the right-handers. But they really did not want to adjust this car with air pressures down and away. 25.1 seconds.
Mark Reed takes over the lead. Let's show you what happened to second place Greg Pickett. He's under challenge here on the outside of turn 11.
Locked him up, tried to stay out of him.
Gets blocked by Revac, who was the third place car, 49.
Yeah, Revac locked those front brakes up, locked the front tires up.
And it's another one of those cases where you get down underneath somebody, but you still got to make the turn. And that's that classic, I took his line away, and the only line he had was over my hood.
That'll put 04. Mark Reed into the lead, 59, trying to get a lap back. Audie Vidovich Jr. unable to do so against the race leader. So 34 laps to go in the Featherlite Southwest Series. The Snap-on Tools 200 at Sears Point, California.
Welcome back. Glad to have you with us from Sonoma, California. And for one spectacular summer night, the greatest collection of baseball superstars gather in Seattle to take sports center stage. Jeter, Martinez, Bonds, Johnson, and others lead the American and National League teams when they collide Tuesday, July 10th for the 72nd All-Star Game. This year, baseball's biggest moments unfold right here on Fox. And we've had some interesting moments unfolding here as we're under our fourth caution. And the Featherlite Southwest Series points leader M.K. Kankey is not running in this race, but Mark Reed is currently our leader, and he leads in other areas. Jeff Hammond.
Yes, he does. Mark Reed, our current leader, is leading the Winston West Series point championship at this point in time. But Chris, a year ago, he was a two-time winner in this Featherlite Series, so he knows his way around this course, and he knows how to get it done.
All right, and there is Mark Reed currently running first. Let's go back upstairs to Mike Joy, Larry McReynolds, and Darrell Walter.
Jimmy White right out the caution with a spin off into the dirt. They had to pull him out, give him a push, and he's now on pit road getting new tires. But as they raced back to the caution flag, number 10, Joanides getting into the 47. And Ken Kaltschmidt getting the worst of that against the wall coming out of turn 11.
And these guys, they're not used to racing back to the caution. All of their racing that they do everywhere else, they freeze the field. They go back to the last completed green lap, but here at a road course, it would take so long to run the race, they race back to the caution.
34 laps complete here on the 11-turn road course at Sonoma, California. There's a look at that paperclip shaped turn 11. We'll be right back for the green. Mark Reed will take the restart green. Number 04, Ben Walker, right behind him, and worked his way up to 9th from 17th. He also pitted on the first caution, restarted 21st, and now the 20-year-old rookie is in second place, right where he finished in the last series race at Irwindale, California. Number 35, Walker.
And Darrell, you mentioned it earlier, these guys that were maybe a little close on making it on fuel from pitting that early, these cautions, it's buying them all kinds of fuel.
Yeah, I think they'll be okay even with that one caution. They'll certainly be all right with another one, but I think they're going to be fine.
Mark Reed, your leader. He's going to run some Craftsman Truck Series races later this season. Got a lap car between, that's Augie Vidovich Jr., between himself and Walker. Walker moves inside the lap car. He's going to get him there at turn 7.
Mike, there's some people that are concerned about that area right there coming off of turn 4. That's a wall that sticks out there. You get out wide there, you could really be in big trouble. They got that protected with the styrofoam blocks, but still, it's an area of concern.
Vidovich and number 80, Nelson, who's now the third-place car after the shuffle. As many of the leaders pitted under this caution, John Nelson moves up, takes over the third spot. 63, Eric Holmes is fourth.
And
Bob Lyon, 44, is fifth. And then Persley in the 70. 3 wide into turn 11. Persley on the inside, Lyon on the outside. And they split. The car in the middle. There's Rodman, number 2, trying to move back up after his pit stop. And we'll have to keep an eye on Greg Pickett, who restarted last.
And Pickett had a great car, but he got spun down there in turn 11, and he's got his work cut out for him to get back to the front. Coming downhill here. This is coming down the track, down toward turn 4, new section of the racetrack here. Really quite fast. I was out there yesterday driving some, and I like what they've done to the track. As you can see, it's created some interesting passing situations.
Petty trying to move up in that blue and green car. The pole sitter gets snuffed there at turn 7. Meanwhile, up in front of him, Englebright easily passed those 2 cars and goes on. There's that yellow car is Englebright.
The 6th car, that's Todd Sousa.
Down into turn 10. And on to turn 11.
Just so many different approaches here. A good road racer will stay out wide and enter that corner late. Problem with that is a bad road racer will drive under you and wreck you.
Right. Or a good oval racer.
Whoa, we got hard contact with the outside wall there.
And around goes the 81 of Scott Lynch. He's the second car involved, and there are 3 more. And one of them is the teammate to Steve Petty, that 03 of Jim Pettit. Scott Lynch is involved, and there's one more car hard up against the wall. Could be Brandon Krause, 42.
You can get into that corner, you know, the way they do, 2 and 3 wide, but you have a hard time coming off that way.
This is coming off turn 11.
That's Pickett, the blue car, right behind that bunch. 28 right in the middle of it, Billington. Ooh, across the other side.
You could see Pickett locking those wheels up. He was trying to stay out of it as best he could.
There's where it starts. Billington into the side of the 81. Lynch.
It's like the 28 car, Darrell. When he picked the throttle up, the rear of his car came around more and just got up into that other car.
Yeah, it's one guy's starting and one guy's stopping, and it didn't work too good. You got a handful of gear shift. You're coming out there in first, second gear. You got a lot of power. You launch forward, and if you got to lift up out of the throttle, somebody might run over you.
These guys are all racing back to the caution.
Yeah. Pace car's waiting to pick up the leader.
We got debris all over the racetrack now. There's sheet metal. I wouldn't really call it sheet metal. Ooh. Run over it, guys.
Flailing fiberglass.
Boy, Englebright got a hold of it a little bit there.
That'll cut it. Well, these bias tires, that'll cut one of them down. It's even though it's fiberglass, it's pretty thick, pretty heavy.
And some of it is pretty busted up. We're under caution again at Sears Point. We'll be right back. Pole sitter Steve Petty has led much of this race, as he did a year ago when transmission troubles put him out. There's now some smoke showing from behind his 01. Matt, what's the problem?
Well, let's talk to his crew chief, Dwayne Sharp. Dwayne, what's wrong with the car?
Oh, the 6 car got into us and knocked the fender in. We just got a little tire rub. We'll be fine. We'll get back to the front.
Well, his car is on pit road. The crew is working on the race car, going around to the right side. Officials are pointing to the right front. The NASCAR official is pointing to the right front of the car. They're going to have to get some more duct tape to duct tape down that bodywork. Remember, this is fiberglass, not metal. They can't use a baseball bat or a Roush roller to kind of piece away and pull away that fender. They're going to have to use some duct tape and other forms here trying to fix this 0-1 machine, but a tough break for Steve Petty as he pulls away.
Well, he's still on the lead lap.
And I know that official's doing his job, but, I mean, give me a break. You got cars out here with stuff flying off of them all over the place, and this guy's car looks pretty good. I think might ought to let him go.
Has 2 doors, 4 fenders, a nose, and a tail.
So these cars got a little sheet metal that flop around on them. I don't think I'd worry all that much about that one.
He's definitely got a lot more than some of them.
He comes back out in 25th place. That's how many cars are on the lead lap.
Yeah, how about this guy? That may bring him in. Let him sandy it up a little bit. Or this one.
Daryl, it's like when the radar cop pulls you over. Why didn't you pull all those other guys over? Because I pulled you.
That's right. Make an example out of it.
Or this guy.
Oh, for Pete's sake.
He's still got his brake hoses up there for his cooling.
Okay. I don't think now you need them, you know, really. I think with no hood, no fenders.
That's Scott Busby, 73.
These cars look like they've been running isolate.
Yeah, on the little 5th mile bull
little
ring.
full ring up there.
On the figure 8.
Whoever said road racing was easy? Can be a lot of fun. Fenders? You don't need no fenders. All right, we'll be back with the Featherlite Southwest Tour for the restart after this. Getting set for the restart, Mark Reed over Ben Walker. Now, Jim Pettit, one of the cars with damage, being worked on behind the wall. Dick Berggren.
And we can give you a real good anatomy on one of these cars as Goat, my cameraman, takes a quick run around because Pettit's car has shed virtually all of its sheet metal and sheet plastic. What happened to you out there, Jim?
It looked like the 28 car and 81 car had something going on between the 2 of them, and I was watching them because they were really not cutting each other any slack at all, and it's just too bad, you know, because we had a pretty good car here. The Hall Canyon Ford was just awesome today for us, and we don't have a whole bunch of road track experience, so it's just really sad because I feel we should have been in the top 10, no problem. Them guys just had something going on between the 2 of them. We got caught up in it.
You're doing a good job. We'll see you next time.
Getting set for the restart. Mark Reed's Pontiac out front. It's entered as a Chevrolet. That's a Pontiac nose, though. Oh, well.
Well, it could be a little of both, depending on how many times he's knocked the front end off of it.
Nelson's second place car did not get a good restart, but here they go up toward turn 1 and up the hill. For more on that second place car, here's Steve.
Well, Mike, Ben Walker in the 35, he stopped on lap 23, and you hear of teams changing 2 or 4 tires, right sides perhaps versus left sides. Ben Walker changed rear tires, both rear tires on lap 23.
And that's not a bad move here. I mean, I want 4 on my race car in the road course, but we've seen the pit crew struggling, and the 2 rear tires, they're the ones that's hurting for forward bite, how they bite into the racetrack on acceleration going through the gears off the corner.
And the other thing there, and I know you know this, is the stagger. Got to keep that stagger consistent, you know, and that's how they do it with changing both rear tires. You put on a set that's 1.25 inch stagger, you want to go back with a set that's 1.25 inch stagger.
Need to keep it consistent, keep the handling.
Keep the handling on the car. And that's a big deal about bias tires. They cut down easily, hard to maintain stagger.
Riding with Englebright, the Wonderbar Cam. He's presently in 8th place, working on Bob Lyon, the 44. And for the lead, 35 Walker closed it right up on the 04 of Reed, entering turn 11.
But they just get so squirrely up there. There we go. There we go. And their 70 car went with them.
Augie Vidovich Jr. And there goes the 70 of Pursley. This is going to be a big one. And it's going to bring out another full course caution.
Now these cars are pretty much in harm's way right here, and they can't get out of the way.
Pursley, a contender who ran up in 3rd place for much of the first half of the race. There's 87 Bernie Lamar. The left front on that is not going anywhere.
Oh, that thing is damaged big time.
Pursley was in the top 3, and remember, had that cut left front tire, had to pit on the green. He's been back in the back ever since.
Just coming up out of that corner, you know, and like when he shifted gears, probably went from 1st to 2nd gear, back in, broke loose, spun around right in front of these guys, and nowhere to go.
Boy, Craig Rodman, number 2, got a lot of damage in that one.
I mean, that's very narrow down through there. There's not a lot of room. There's concrete barriers on both sides of him. Cool, that flame's coming out of that 87.
Here we come off the corner. A little 87 of Lamar.
Well, you know, that 59 car just snapped around as if almost either got nudged or something broke.
Nowhere for these cars to go. Pursley right there in the middle of the racetrack.
Now that racetrack looks very wide, but when you're coming out of turn 11 at a full head of steam, everybody's right out toward the wall if they can, and hard to get checked up there. Now they're coming around to the caution. Pace car has picked up the leader. 6th full course caution of the day.
And you see all the debris that's on the track that they're kicking up, and that's a concern. Pick all that up on your tires. Sometimes it gives you a false reading and you think you got a flat tire. That can even cut one of these bias tires down. So you need to avoid all that you can as often as you can.
20 laps to go. The Snap-on Tools 200. As you watch this one unfold from Jim Engelbright's Wunderbar on board. He makes it through, and we'll be right back. Tomorrow, Fox NASCAR coverage continues with NASCAR This Morning on Fox Sports Net at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. The NASCAR Busch Series from the Milwaukee Mile on FX at 1:30 Eastern and NASCAR Victory Lane to bring you home at 9 p.m. Sunday evening on Fox Sports Net. The 70 car behind the wall. Let's go to Matt Yoakum.
Greg Pursley has climbed from his beaten and battered number 70 machine. What happened, Greg?
Looks like the 59 car kind of lost it in front of us coming out 11 there, and it's right there. We're just a victim of a circumstance. StarNursery.com, Oakley sunglasses, one-day paint body. Monte Carlo was awesome today. The crew did a great job. We made an early pit stop, came in, got our tires, got our fuel, and we were just trying to work our way up there, you know, being careful and everything, trying to be there at the end. I think we would have been there, but that's what happens. That's racing.
Pursley won at Irwindale last year in his first full season on this tour. No pit stops among the leaders. Just under 20 laps to go. Steve Burns.
Mike, it could be bad news for the number 35, Ben Walker, the second place car. He thinks he has a tire going flat as they're headed to the green flag.
20-year-old rookie running in second spot. Here we go. Green.
He does. It's the right rear tires down.
Bad break for Walker. Let's see if the field can get by him without incident.
He's just he's going to try to limp it back home, and it's going to cause trouble right here.
He can't get up to speed. He's got all the field coming behind him.
Oh, yeah, it's a big bottleneck, and he's all over the place. And
costly for Rodman in the 2 car, but he finally gets by. There goes Pickett.
Pickett's making some good moves right here, taking advantage of this situation.
And now he gets pretty well out of harm's way. But what a tough break for this 20-year-old rookie who had a great run going here.
Oh, yeah, right up there in second place. And, boy, if he could have just caught that before he took the green.
But, guys, he did a good job keeping it to the best of his ability out of the rest of this field. He had the whole field coming.
Oh, yeah, and with a flat tire on the right rear there, the car's just very uncontrollable. Trying to get up enough speed to get out of the way. My gosh.
And because he was the second place car and he log jammed the field behind him, Mark Reed is now just taken off.
I mean, he's got over a second lead.
Yeah, that's the biggest lead we've seen all day.
How about Greg Pickett? Watch for Pickett's blue 86 to come through. He's really climbed up through the field after getting involved in a spin at turn 11. He's up to 9th place on the restart.
Yeah, the Pickett man's making some good moves.
There's Engelbright, number 20 on the inside. Here's Matt.
Mike, less than 20 laps to go, but the driver of the 20 car, Jimmy Engelbright, is hoping for a payday in more than one way. He told me this morning this will more than likely be his last Southwest Tour event. He's hoping to secure a full-time Truck Series ride in 02, and he was hoping to sell this car at the end of the day. And what better way to put a car on the market than a car that just went to victory lane? To Dick Berger.
Craig Rodman came into this event second in points, and he has had a tough day of it. The front end of that car is pretty well bent up, but they had a big decision to make. Come in and try and straighten it out or stay on the racetrack. So they had Rodman turn right, turn left, and with multiple spotters, they looked at that car as best they could and simply made the decision it's probably all right. He's out there soldiering on, hoping to gain the points lead soon. Won't do it today.
There is trouble up at turn 2 and 4. There's Buckshot Jones who spun at 2, and a lot of cars had gone off at turn 4 over the rumble strips as if something was slippery there. And finally, number 19, Eddie McKean, goes for a spin. Local yellow just in that corner. And now he gets away and is okay. Meanwhile, the 35, Ben Walker, has made it to pit road. Let's go there.
Mike, Mike, Ben Walker just came in. They changed that right rear tire, but their troubles may not be over. They think they may have a suspension part that's broken, but he is back on the racetrack.
That car looks okay, and I believe that's just probably thinking they're riding around there with that flat tire. Everything feels broken. Car looks fine, and he did get out in front of the leader, so, you know, a caution, and maybe he could get caught back up, and who knows what might happen.
He is just on the tail end of the lead lap, Darrell. Our leader, Mark Reed, you'll see come into play there. There's Walker, there's Reed. Whoa, turn one, and the car goes way off course.
Yeah, he's
up into the tire wall.
He's still going off course.
That was our pole sitter, Steve Petty.
That's got to be, he's got to turn, that's usually where you turn over right there. Woo, yeah, that's
upside down.
He came off of there at a really high rate of speed.
You're carrying so much speed at that area of the racetrack. Darrell, you've been back on the throttle all the way since you got off turn 11. I mean, you're carrying, that's one of the fastest parts of the racetrack.
Yeah, I'd like to see him come and start doing a little moving there.
That car went way up the hill in the grass and then slid back down. But Petty, that's all full throttle all through there, as Larry points out.
Yeah.
And I don't know if something
I see a little movement right in here, but, you know, he's hanging upside down in there. He's going to have some help.
And this will slow the field under caution yet again. Our pole sitter, Steve Petty, who last year led 17 laps. And there he is. He's okay. And that shot, we've put it right side up for you folks, but that's upside down.
He's holding on to the roof up here. Kind of reminds me of holding on the grass so I won't fall out of the yard sometime.
You just got to be uncareful when you undo the belts. Right now, he's strapped into that seat.
And that's what's keeping him off the ceiling.
Well, we've seen more cars turn over right there. A lot of Winston Cup cars have gotten over in that particular area right there on a number of occasions.
Darrell, that's the second fastest part of this racetrack, coming up through there where you start
and
up the hill.
You'll see it right here. Watch this thing come off the racetrack. High gear, wide open.
Earth, sky, Earth, sky.
Houston,
Earth.
we got a problem.
That's got to be a terrible feeling.
I'm telling you, I've only been upside down a couple of times, and buddy, when it all stops, you just don't know. You just hope and pray you're all right.
And it appears that Steve Petty is our pole sitter after going off at one of the fastest parts of this race course just as they start toward turn number 1. So we're under caution yet again, and we'll come back and update this story and get set for the run to the finish. 49 of 64 laps are complete here in Sonoma, California. Steve Petty waiting for them to flip that car over so he can get out after a wild ride coming up toward turn 1. You're watching NASCAR on Fox Sports Net. Welcome back to Sonoma, California, where pole sitter Steve Petty, trying to work his way back to the front, went full throttle off course toward the entrance of turn number 1. Darrell, it sounded like, was that the tire dropping off the pavement, or did it sound like something broke?
It's so hard to tell. We didn't get a good view of what happened.
And the car is upside down as rescue workers try to help Steve Petty come out of the car.
Pull that bed out of there. Grab my seat. Hold on. Grab my seat. Hold on. Okay, come on, grab. Let's go. Right. Okay, bud. Yeah, pull me out. Go. Pull. Pull. Watch my right shoulder. Pull.
So Petty taken in the ambulance to the track care center, and we see the helicopter running from the 76 Sky Cam. Petty complaining of right shoulder injury. Looks like it's going to be airlifted out of the course to a nearby hospital. Another tough break for the Baypack team. 2 of their cars torn up in this race. 11 laps to go. Mark Reed will try to hold off number 80, John Nelson. Todd Souza in the 6, and defending race champ Jim Engelbright. The number 20, Craig Rodman in the deuce. Bob Lyons, 44, and ex-Trans Am racer Greg Pickett in the 86. Those will be the front runners when we go back to green for this restart, and we'll have 10 to go.
Yeah, go ahead, Darryl.
I'm sorry. It should be a really good shootout here. I mean, these cars are all pretty equally matched right now, on pretty similar tires. Should be a good shootout.
Yeah, I mean, the interesting thing, though, is the strategy of our leader, Mark Reed. Remember, he pitted on lap 23, which is 41 laps to go. That was 31 laps ago, but 17 of those laps have been under caution.
And his strategy was pretty darn good, Larry, because he's in front when it counts.
Where it's safe.
That's right.
Field bunches up for the restart. We're back under green. Reed takes some full throttle through the area where Steve Petty just crashed, and on through turn 1 and up to the top of the hill, turn 2. You climb about 120 feet of elevation right there. It's a long pull.
Got a car around up there at the top again.
Right in front of the whole field.
That's Bob Lyon, 44.
Everybody's trying to take evasive action. It's really, really tight up there.
We stay green, but for that one corner where caution is waving.
They've increased this runoff area over here quite a bit at the top of that hill. Those tires were right out next to the racetrack. Meanwhile, back at the ranch.
Reed under pressure from number 80, John Nelson.
Looking out of Jim Englebright's car, the 20 car. He's in 4th position right now.
He's got a little ground to make up here.
We'll get back to the stripe. He'll only have 9 laps to do it.
Those front 3 have kind of broken away from everybody else.
Yeah, look right behind him, Darrell. That pack coming in now here at turn 11. Up to the high side, Nelson looks for the lead, but he's got the long way around and can't do it.
Took a little different approach.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Reed's running the line you run. You actually are below where the racetrack groove is.
Look at that second pack. Craig Rodman trying to hold off Greg Pickett.
There's some hungry hounds right in here, boys.
You get 10 to go, business picks up.
Oh, yeah. The intensity goes way up. And you wouldn't know the difference if these guys were racing for $100,000 or $10,000.
In 7 races, Darrell, there's only 5 drivers who've made over $10,000 all season in this series. So it's for love and the chance to advance, not for money.
They must have nice trophies. Whoa, look at the 10 car.
Trouble for Joe Anides in the number 10. See if he can make it around to the pits.
I don't see how he could be. I don't see I can see anything the way that windshield is laid back. He's just going to try to get over here out of harm's way. That hood laid up over the windshield. I don't see how you can see much.
You can probably see out the left side to see the wall, and that's
probably why he went off course there. He was following the wall.
Here's what happened.
There he comes. Oh, he makes some contact right here. Knocks the hood loose. Over the top of the car it goes.
He got into the back of Eric Holmes. Second place. Here comes Englebright to the inside. A dive bomb pass.
Ooh, this is going to be touchy right here on the outside. Just get squeezed off real easily right here. Got the guy to get inside. It's got to give you some respect. Made the pass.
And
Great
even in
pass.
making that pass, he gained a half of a tenth on our leader, Mark Reed.
Englebright right where he wants to be in the waning laps here. 8 to go.
He's got a fast car, and boy, that was a good pass.
Oh, look at the left front kicked out on that.
That's the hood one.
Yeah.
I just don't see how they can't see where he's going at all.
I think he's broke that left tie rod, Darrell, when he ran into the back of 63 Eric Holmes.
And it's going to be very borderline that he's going to make it to pit road before the leaders get to him. He's down here in the S's right now.
Yeah, and he's got to cross over the racetrack right in front of these guys. Oh, and he's right in harm's way.
Oh my gosh, right at a bad spot. That's a fast part of the track as you come down for turn 10. Englebright looking for the lead, and they get past that slow car. Full course caution is out, so they can go pick up the number 10.
But this group will race back to the caution right here. Here they come down into turn 11. Englebright on the outside. Reed's going to hold the bottom, but look at him right there on the crossover. He tries to get the bite off the middle.
Couldn't do it. And Reed holds the lead to the caution flag. That is the 8th full course caution of this race. Rest of the field comes around to the caution, and they will set up for what should be a 6 or 7 lap shootout. Welcome back to Sears Point. We're getting set for what should be a 5-lap sprint to the finish. However, series rules require that races end under green, white checker. So if it stays green, it'll be 5 laps. If it goes caution, it could be more. Mark Reed in his 4th start this season, 3rd at Vegas, 5th at Irwindale, and 11th at Irwindale. Looking for his 5th career win. Defending champ Jim Englebright right on his bumper as we go for the restart.
Here we go. And what you got to watch for is the cars that may have run over debris and got a slow leak, tire going down, debris on their tires. Got to be on your toes here, boys.
Like the 2 car, Craig Rodman in that black car, he's trying to get a jump on the outside, but he's going to fall in line as they head up the hill.
The Trans Am vet Greg Pickett, 86 right behind them. The front 5 get a little breathing room going up the hill. 5 laps to go.
Pickett looking the inside there. He couldn't make the move. He had a notion to going up the hill. Couldn't quite get it in there.
Jim Englebright in the 20 car. Now remember, he won this race a year ago. Same race car, up on the ripple strips. They'll be coming to 4 to go. This is where you got to reach down and get all you can out of that piece, DW.
Oh, yeah. No more. Stop working your mouth and start working your hands. That's what this is all about. No time to be calling in telling them what's wrong with the car because they can't do a whole lot about it now.
John Parks, the only repeat winner of this race. There's Pickett. Losing a little ground as they come down.
You know, I've been here as he goes by us. It sounds like that car's not running on all 8 cylinders, like it's got a dead miss in it. It seemed not hurt him up through the tight turns, but it hurts him a little bit down through these S's where you get up a lot of speed.
To the inside comes the 80. John Nelson. Not quite.
Englebright tried to go to the high side, almost lost the position by trying to do that. 4 to go.
And really, when you go, there's only one way around that turn 11. That's right in there next to those tires. But exiting that corner is what's so tough because the back end wants to snap out from under you. Some guys will get out a little wider, trying to make the turn a little bigger and not accelerate out there quite so hard.
Uphill, over the top of the hill, a blind rise, and then you look straight down the mouth of turn 4.
Right now, it looks like what Englebright's doing. He's driving the car in deep, but he's paying the price on the exit of the corner. Reed's able to get back to the throttle and accelerate off the corner better.
When you come up over the top of that hill there as you head down turn 4, it's like trying to hit a golf ball on the green where you can only see the top of the flag. You pick out a spot down there, and that's where you want to be lined up when you come up over the top of that hill.
Dick Berggren.
Well, Darrell Waltrip, you got a good pair of ears. Crew Chief Mike Halloran has just told me, indeed, Greg Pickett does have a skip in that car. Earlier, they had a clutch problem. Now it's a skip. They think maybe it's an exhaust leak.
He's doing a heck of a job hanging on to 5th place. There's a spinner, 06 Mark Mitchell. For the lead.
Look at that. Down on the outside. I mean, he just drove it down in there a little harder. Paid the price coming off, though.
Again, Mark Reed right against those tire barrels down there. He's not going to give it. That's what he's got to do. Yeah. Got to hold the bottom of the racetrack.
And that's the quickest, shortest way around there. But your car's got to handle pretty good to do that.
A lot of oval races are won diving into the corner. Road races are won coming.
Whoa, he got loose there off turn 2.
Couldn't take the pressure. Come on, baby. Get it back up on the racetrack.
He's there. But he's going to drop to 4th place.
He did a good job of just hanging on to it.
I definitely think Englebright had a lot faster race car, but as we always say, one thing to catch him, another thing to pass him. Got Reed out of shape up there. He got loose up in turn 2 and drove by him.
I think he was distracted. Again, it's really difficult to do.
Nelson right there. A lot of spins around the course. Number 7 goes around. Frank Moronsky Jr. He had help. There was contact from another car that sent him around.
Yeah, if you could see the whole course, folks, there's dust everywhere. Yeah. There's cars running off everywhere. We just can't show all of them to you. Going to be a little, he's going to come down here. He's going to try that outside pass. You can get up there, but, buddy, unless you can cut it under him right here, and it's hard to do, you're going to lose ground.
You got to get under him way before you get to the corner. You got to get that position right on the entrance to the corner.
You can go in on the outside of a guy there, and if he happens to shove up a little bit and your car's good enough to turn under him, you might be able to take his line away, but more likely you're just going to lose time.
For more on the leader, Dick Berggren.
Jim Englebright has several spotters around the racetrack coaching him along. None is doing a better job of being a coach than his wife, Valerie, who every once in a while just tells him what a good job he's doing. Keep it going, she'll say. And she just said it again, Mike.
And there is the distance from Englebright back to the 2nd place car, John Nelson, number 80. Let's show you how Englebright Engelbright got the lead. Turn 2.
He just took him up the hill, stayed on him, took him up the hill, put a little pressure on him, and he ran off the course. Mark Reed did.
I mean, there's no question, Darrell. As you mentioned a while ago, loss of concentration, overdrove that corner, got off the racetrack.
But you cannot look back. When you start looking back, you're losing time. You ever been racing with somebody on foot and turn around and see where they are? They go by you on the other side.
Race over. Moronsky has spun again at turn 2, and this time he's not able to get going, and we may get another yellow. Right now it's just a local caution at turn 2. That car's pretty well off the racing surface.
Right now the white flag's going to be out for Jim Engelbright. Here's his crew. You just need to tell him, be smooth, Jim. Hit your marks. Don't look back.
Looking for 2 in a row at Sears Point.
Slow cars to go by, but he's got put quite a bit of distance on Nelson in the 80 car.
And Nelson, you know, you got to give him some credit, guys. He started back in 29th position, so he has done a great job of doing his pit strategy and staying in the hunt.
And did my theory. He stayed on the racetrack. Well,
oh, no, that's okay.
For a little bit he did.
That's okay. A lot of runoff area there. You can do that and not pay the price.
This is no time. Just hang on to second place, bud. Don't worry about you're not going to catch Engelbright. You might as well just hang on to second.
He's got to keep Rodman behind him, though.
Got a slow car here. Going to work by him, but Engelbright's well out in front and on his way.
Here he comes down through the S's for the final time. Nelson still second, Rodman third, Reed fourth, and Pickett fifth.
Pickett's done a really good job today, guys, and particularly here late in the race with that thing running the way it is.
Turn 11 for the final time, and Jim Engelbright is going to pick up his 7th Southwest Tour career victory. Look at this, back for 4th place. Reed almost got it away from Rodman. Not quite. Engelbright, the winner.
Happy crew celebrating or jelly bellies.
Nelson second, Rodman third, Reed. Jim Engelbright. And I believe Kenny Shepard got past Greg Pickett in turn 11 for 5th place at the checker.
Yeah, Pickett's car was just getting slower and slower all the time, so that's possible.
Last year, Engelbright passed Greg Pursley with little more than a lap to go to win. Today, he pressures Mark Reed. And Reed makes a mistake coming up the hill to turn 2.
He's just on the back of him, and I'm sure Reed looks back right here, and he just loses a little concentration. Car gets loose, and again, he did a great job of not spinning that thing all the way out right there and losing a lot of positions.
From Engelbright's onboard.
Boy, when you're running second, racing the leader, and he does that, it's a beautiful thing.
To be close enough to capitalize, Engelbright was.
Pretty happy camper there.
Had a good race car all day long.
And look, it doesn't have a dent on it.
And it still has the hood.
That ought to send a message to all those other guys. Keep all your fenders on there and everything where it's supposed to be. You might have a shot at winning this thing.
Definitely a method to that madness.
There is. That was always my philosophy at Martinsville.
Yeah, he's signaling us from the Wonderbar onboard camera. Well done for Jim Engelbright. Time to make those donuts.
Here we go. You going to buy us a couple of dozen here, buddy?
All kinds of room to make donuts here.
Jim Engelbright is our Southwest Tour winner. We'll be right back with more from Sears Point. Jim Engelbright has won here at Sears Point for the 2nd year in a row, and again used a late race pass to seal the deal.
Yeah, he had a good car. He took care of it. Like we said, he kept all the fenders on it, didn't tear the thing up, and he's in victory circle. Let's see what he does here. A little donut work in. Whoa.
Good donuts.
Yeah, look how fast that baby spins around. Yahoo! Viva Las Vegas.
Woohoo!
Well, bias tires make a lot of smoke.
They do. Comes the Hans device, the supplementary restraint along with the shoulder harnesses. And let's get down to Steve Burns, who's there in victory lane.
Jim Englebright, tell us how you won the race.
Wow, man, you know, I just had an awesome race car all day. Rodney Hagood's my crew chief, and he's just the man, I'm telling you. And my crew, we pitted under green, and they didn't let me down. They did a great stop, got me out, and then we just kind of bided our time a little bit, and I don't know, Mark was pretty strong right there at the end. I didn't think I was going to get him, but, you know, I'd like to say hi to Mike Kankey. Mike was thinking about you all day, bub. Get well, speedy recovery.
How important is it for you to win here? You grew up near here, live near here, a hometown victory of sorts.
Well, you know, I really can't even put it into words. You know, I got my sponsors up there, Jelly Belly and Wonder Bar, who have supported me for many years, and this wins for them. 2 in a row. You know, I mean, God, I tried like 7 years to win this darn thing. Now I've won it twice in a row. So maybe I figured it out. I hope.
Congratulations, Jim. Let's go to Matt Yoakum.
Well, Steve, Mark Reed pulled some pit strategy. Nearly pulled off the win. Boy, you didn't need to see that caution with 5 laps to go.
No, we didn't need to see the caution, but I think we were good. I mean, we had a great car in the happy hour yesterday, and we saw that we definitely weren't a top 5 qualifier. But even like right there at the beginning, we could run right with the lead group. It just got better as it never went away. It was just awesome. You know, the Food for Less Foodsco car, Jerry Pitt's crew. It was the car to beat. Their pit stop strategy. You know, Jerry came over with us from Winston Cup, and he knows what to do out here. We just needed you know, a little bit more green would have helped. But on top of that, I think the 7 car, somebody dropped a radiator in turn 2 with 2 to go, and I cleaned it off and drove. I couldn't turn it, went straight off the track.
But you've had a great year all around. I mean, a good run today and a great year so far in the Winston West Series.
It's been a spectacular year. Food for Less came on board really full-time 2 years ago, and it's just been a godsend. We knew what we could do, and they've given us the tools and resources to do it. Came out strong again with Jerry Pitts. We 4th first race Winston West, won the next race, 4 pole positions, leading rookie in the championship. Right now we're tickled to death.
Describe how the 20 car got around you.
He just was pressuring me real hard, and then my spotter yelled at me going up the hill to stay low that I believe, again, it was a 7 car that dropped a radiator, and I was on the ripple strips, and I drove. I cleaned the majority of it off. I went out in the dirt, and he was able to keep it between the stripes, and he got by me.
2 years ago, he finished 2nd. Today, Mark Reed finishes 4th. To Dick.
With John Nelson, who started way back in 29th, finished 2nd. Well, what does that say about these people who claim you can't pass on a road course, John?
Well, the big difference is I'm not a road racer, but if you know anything about my background, I built the off-road motorsports trucks for General Motors, so I'm an off-road guy, and this is off-road racing. Off one berm, off another berm. It's an absolute blast, a lot of fun.
You had a good time today?
I had a ball.
All right, let's go to Matty.
Well, Kenny Shepard also played some pit strategies today. You pitted late, but almost too late.
Yeah, I think we did pit too late. You know, our strategy was incorporate a lot of green flag laps, a lot of green flag run, wear the guys down, wear their cars down. Just didn't work out. You know, we had most of the second half of the race was under yellow. We really only had 6-8 laps to run the Save Mart Pepsi car hard up front. Just didn't have enough time. And with the new areas of the track, I think you're going to hear a lot from the Cup guys tomorrow. It's pretty tight.
Well, good run today. To Dick.
Well, you heard about Craig Rodman's team telling him the left front wheel was okay. Well, take a look at that left front wheel. Craig, you still pulled off a good finish. How'd you do it with the front end all bent up like that?
Man, just drove the wheels off it, literally. I mean, I just did everything I could to, you know, to keep the pace up and try to catch those guys and make up time where I could. And the toe out was off and the thing steering all over the place. But hey, you know, we made it, and my crew chief Tracy kept me calm, and just got to thank folks at Yerf Dog Fun Carts for, you know, making this all possible, and my whole team, man. These guys are awesome. I say it every week, but they're awesome. This is a team sport.
What's it like at well over 100 miles an hour to have a car that's going all over the place here?
Really scary. I mean, it's like you don't, it just doesn't know where it's going. You know, when it's towed in, it wants to turn right or left. It doesn't want to go straight anymore.
And this is the definition of brave, because this guy was hurt just last year.
Rodman races for Dave Reed and is a protege of Ron Hornaday, who's won this race a couple of times. Let's have a look at the results. Jim Englebright, winner for the 2nd year in a row. John Nelson, a surprise 2nd place finisher. Rodman 3rd. Reed 4th. Kenny Shepard 5th.
And Rodman came into this race 2nd in points behind Mike Kankey that you heard him talk about. Of course, Mike hurt in an accident here in qualifying the other day, had shoulder surgery. Rodman still will not take the points lead, though, because he was 195 points behind Mike Kinky.
And our pole sitter, Steve Petty, airlifted to the hospital just as a precaution, complaining of soreness in that right shoulder. Buckshot Jones finished on the lead lap, got himself some valuable road racing experience for the Winston Cup race coming up here on Sunday. And a look back through the rest of the 42-car field, many of which were not running at the finish.
For Steve Petty, finishing 33rd, our pole sitter, got on his roof. Really tough accident.
We'll be back to Sears Point Raceway in Sonoma, California. This is the NASCAR Featherlite Southwest Series on Fox Sports Net. Welcome back to Sears Point. Now, M.K. Kanky, despite that broken femur in practice and qualifying and not being able to run this race, he still has a narrow margin on Craig Rodman, Augie Bidovich Jr., who was off the lead lap today, John Nelson, who finished second today, and Greg Pursley, who ended up out of the race, are the top 5 in the points. Matt Yoakum.
Well, Mike, I've caught up with Rudy Revac. Started the day 8th, and at day's end, will now go home with a 6th place finish. Good job.
Yeah, thanks. We had a great day. The crew did a wonderful job. We had, if we hadn't had that flat tire on the right side, we could have finished better. But the Hall Kenyon Symmetry Racing team and my sponsors, Symmetry, Hall Kenyon, and Rob Smeltzer here, my crew chief, does an unbelievable job. And the whole crew was wonderful. We had some great fans out here, my lady Pam and Brandon, and it was just a wonderful day. Thanks for a great day. Thanks to Fox Sports for being here.
Well, congratulations. Now let's go to Steve. Steve?
Well, thanks, Matt. Greg Pickett finished 6th. He also told me he's the highest finishing grandfather in the field.
Yeah, that's probably right. We just come out here like once a year and shake it up a little bit with the young guys, and it's a lot of fun. Yeah, I have 5 grandchildren. Scotty Sharp, who's on the pole at Indianapolis, is my son-in-law, and he's got a couple kids, so we want to say hi to them back in Indianapolis. We had a fun time today.
All right, great job. Let's go to Dick.
Big dent in the side of David Pook's car. How'd that get there? How'd you finish?
Well, we don't know how we finished. We know we were up to 16th spot from dead last. We had a radio problem, had to come in the pits and start last from qualifying 7th. Don't know who it was. We had the lead. We had a good run coming off of turn 8 back there, and then someone I had the line straight down, and someone just came into the door, tried to move me over. Last I know, he was in the dirt, and I was running down the racetrack straight line.
That's road racing. Let's go up to Mike.
Well, it was a fun show, and it's fun to see these fellows who aspire to Winston Cup racing get a chance to run on a Winston Cup road course and beat the course up a bit. Today, though, I think, but for Jim Englebright, the course won.
Well, the most exciting thing for most of these guys is they can go home and tell their buddies, I raced on the track at Sonoma. And this is a famous racetrack. A lot of great racing's taken place here through the years, and it's fun to etch your name, in Englebright's case, in Victory Lane, in Victory Circle. For these other guys just to have competed on this track today was a big accomplishment.
And what I like, and we talked about it in the opening, is the different strategies. Jim Englebright, those guys pitting under green, getting their tires, and then you look at Mark Reed that led the race up till about 2 laps to go, got his tires very early, kept that track position with all those cautions, but then, as you heard him say, get into the liquid up there in turn 2 and got off the racetrack.
All right, a fun day here at Sears Point. From our California condo above the S's, let's go down to the Hollywood Hotel on Gilligan's Island in the infield here at Sears Point.
All right, thanks. You have to. I don't want to be Gilligan. You're the skipper. But we're celebrating the Jelly Belly Wonder Car. See, this is the wine country.
Marianne. That's what matters.
Marianne or Ginger. But Jim Englebright, they mentioned, not a regular in this division, Jeff, yet. Back-to-back wins, at least when he's come here to run. What does a driver take from this experience on this very difficult road course?
Patience. You saw right now that he had a lot of patience. He combined that with experience. He related it back to the fact it was the 7th time he'd been here, 8th time he'd been here. It takes a while to get a feel for this place. He's got it down now. He better watch out next year.
All right, Jim Englebright, his 7th career victory. 5 laps led today, took the lead on the lap 62 and wound out on top. Be with us on FX. Fox Racing continuing Sunday as the Busch Series is brought to you from Milwaukee. Kevin Harvick, your Busch points leader. We'll keep an eye on him. Check it out. From Sears Point, we're ready to roll. 42 cars beginning the Featherweight Southwest Series race today. Thomas Martin having some problems. Travis Clark having some problems. There were 8 cautions in this race. In fact, some drivers didn't know where they were going. But after taking the lead on lap 62 in just his 2nd start of the 2001 series, Jim Englebright in his Jelly Belly Wonder Bar Chevrolet wound up the winner in Sears Point.